First up, energy prices set to increase to 40%. Set to rise by 40%. Like, that's on top of the other increases that they've already had, which is on top of the other increases which they've already had, which is on top of the other increases that they already had. And then when you compare how much the UK is paying in comparison to, well, let's give you an example. So we live in Spain, as you're probably aware, and our electricity bill has gone up a whopping nothing. Like, I don't know why, but we get our electricity bill, it comes through once a month, and I look at what the direct debit is, and I'm like, oh, it was the same as last month. Oh, it's the same as last month. Oh, and that's the same as last month. Now, it must have gone up. Maybe we've changed our consumption a little bit, but it's winter, for goodness sake. We've had the heating on. I guess we don't have air conditioning on because it's winter, but we don't really use a lot of that in summer either. We've got a swimming pool which uses electricity for the cleaning, but our bills haven't really gone up, and it just seems to be the UK for some reason kind of can't grasp the concept of keeping bills low for people who are struggling to afford. It's funny, this. It's almost as though the government, or the people inside the government, are relying on the energy companies to have massive profits. BP, 23 billion. They doubled their profit. Shell, 32 billion, highest profit they've ever made. And I can't believe our government would do something like that, where they'd purposefully keep the energy bills up really high in order to financially gain personally. I can't imagine that would be such a thing, given the way that this current government and their empathy for the people at the bottom end. I can't imagine that's going to happen at all. I can't imagine that's the reason why at all. But look, what are you doing with your energy prices set to rise 40%? I was thinking about this because down here I've actually got a electric blanket which I'm sat on, and I'm wrapped around it, and honestly it's one of the best investments I think I'll have made. I bought it in January this year. I think it'll be one of the best investments I've made this year. It cost like €75, so it wasn't a cheap one. Don't buy a cheap electric blanket. And then what popped into my head was warm the butt, not the room. I know it's supposed to be warm the person, not the room, but I thought I'd change that. Warm the butt. My butt is nice and warm sat here on my electric blanket. Hopefully it doesn't set me on fire. Very 1970s kind of thinking is that, isn't it, with electric blankets? But what are you doing about the energy price rise? Now, there's a couple of things I want to say on this. The first thing I want to say is that context here is everything. It's like, if you've lost 4 stone, like that sounds like a lot, right? If you lost 4 stone in weight, but if you're a 40 stone man, still 10% of your body weight, that's still pretty good, but you still got a long way to go. Whereas if I lost 4 stone, I would be ill, right? So the context is really important. So when we're talking about energy prices rising by 40%, I think context is really important here. One of my HMOs costs like £500 a month for gas and electricity. And if you think 40% on top of that is an extra, £220, that's actually quite a big increase. But really, an extra 220 quid, is that really going to send me under? Is it going to break the bank? And it's not really, not as a percentage of the total rental income. And so this is why context is really important. It's not the fact that energy prices are rising by 40% that you may or may not have a problem. It's the fact that you're not earning enough money elsewhere or in your business. Like if you were making £1 million a month, or 10 grand a month, or 100 grand a month, whatever that number is, instead of making the average of 2 grand a month, having an increase of £200 a month on your gas bills, if you're earning 10 to 50 to £100,000 a month, you'll be like, it's piffle, right? It really doesn't matter. It doesn't affect you at all. Now the key here is for you not to be in the poverty side or the skint side of life. And I believe that the only real way of getting out of that is through hard work. Now you might say you're already working hard, and that may be so as well. But are you working hard on the right things? Is your time management in place? Is your task management in place? Are you out making communication and networking with other people as much as possible so that you're optimizing your opportunities to make additional income? And then this momentum that you're then starting to get, how fast and how hard are you pushing this momentum to do more and more and more? So like in my business, our revenues went up 40% last year, and they're probably set to increase significantly again this year, which has its whole realm of problems, by the way. But the energy price rises are an issue if you've got no cash. Like, I can't really put it any blunter than that. If you've got no cash, that's actually the bigger issue here. It's not that energy prices are rising by 40%. And obviously, I'm talking about you personally. I'm talking about your personal financial network, which is basically you and maybe your husband or your wife or your mum and dad if you live with them, or your kids if you're like a whole family unit. That's the issue. It's not that price rises are going up. It's not that cars are more expensive and food's gone up and rent's gone up and houses have gone up. None of that is true. The issue comes back down to your own personal financial situation. And if energy prices rising by 40% is causing you stress, you shouldn't be focused on the energy prices rising. You can't do anything about that anyway. What are you going to do? Go to Russia and grab some oil, bring it back? There's not a lot you can do. But what you can do and what you should be focusing on is finding a way of making sure that you're going to make a lot more money.